G'day, welcome back to Super Free. Today I'm taking you a little bit behind the scenes in our business because I want to talk to you about masterminds and group coaching programs. Are they worth it? And here's how to tell. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because I have been running group coaching masterminds for 9 years now. I've run over 14 group coaching programs, long-term group coaching programs. This is not including the short-term live events and things that I've run. And they have been so incredible, so beneficial. They're not typically the first thing a person thinks of when they think about receiving coaching, like being in a group. And they're just incredible. So if you're wondering, like, what even is that? What is a mastermind? What is group coaching? So a mastermind is typically where one person is facilitating and everyone in the group shares resources. And group coaching is where there's a coach and the coach has a relationship with everyone in the group and they facilitate and help people achieve goals that way. And in my business, our group experiences are a blend of both. As the coach, I'm both facilitating and coaching and encouraging people to share in resources and holding space for all of those things, which I love very, very much. Now, the interesting thing behind the scenes is this. We survey pretty much everyone who does join where we can in our business and in particular with our masterminds. And we love to get to know people before we officially begin. So we ask them questions like, how did you find us? And what hesitations did you have to signing up for a program like this? And what goals do you have? What are you hoping to achieve? And what do you think is in the way? And this allows us to create resources up front for people, to tailor the program and the experience for people, to just kind of get to know really where people are at when they're starting. But the question I'd love to focus on here behind the scenes is this. The most common hesitation people have for signing up to a group coaching or mastermind is, will it be worth it? We have seen this question come up in 90% of our surveys. Will it be worth it? Is it going to be worth the money? Is it going to be worth me putting in all this effort to be there? And so I thought it would be really worthwhile and of benefit to you and just also really fun to talk about answering that question and how you can answer that question for yourself. We want to help people make the best decision for themselves with as little risk as possible up front. And it is a hard question to answer. The coaching industry is worth $5 billion. It's not going anywhere. There are so many different ways that you can receive coaching. The coaching market, there are so many different people that you can potentially work with. And honestly, up front, when someone is selling their work and they've got really solid marketing going on, I know from experience, it's really hard to tell if it is going to be worth it for you without taking a risk and diving in and getting to know that yourself. And after being in this industry for 16 years myself and spending a lot of money on masterminds and coaching, I have worked in some circumstances that were just absolutely brilliant and in some circumstances that were just not for me. And if I had known what I'm about to share with you up front, like how to tell if it's going to be worth it, I would have saved myself a lot of time and money and energy, because it is an investment of time and money and energy. And when you're looking at a sales page and someone has incredible marketing, it is very convincing that they do have the problem solution, or they have the solution to your problem, or they have a strategy that's going to help you, or they have all the answers. And just because it says that, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for you. So how the heck do we tell? Well, I'm going to share some things I've learned in hindsight. And my intention here is to help you be able to figure that out for yourself. So the first thing that I want you to know is you do really have to define what worth it means to you before you say yes to something like this, because your definition of worth it is going to be different to the next person. But this episode is designed to help you get clear on that. And I'm going to share with you my own experience with both joining programs and running them myself. As I told you, I've been doing it for 9 years. And I'm going to speak to the things that people are usually most worried about, that, it sort of gets in the way of them thinking they could even participate in a mastermind, which can impact whether they think it would be worth it for them. And I'm also going to talk about how to know when it's not worth it, because it's true, it's not right for everyone and it's not right for everyone all the time. So let's dive in. Okay, big disclaimer up front. Obviously, I run masterminds and group coaching programs. So deep down, I do believe that it is ultimately worth it, which makes me totally biased on this topic. And I run them because I believe in them. I've done them. I found them to be, in some cases, even more impactful than one-on-one coaching. But the intention of this episode is not to sell you on the fact that they're worth it when you get it. It's to be able to help you understand whether it's going to be worth it for you and work out for yourself if this might be something that you would love to have a go at. Some people honestly don't thrive in groups, but some of us, like me, I was convinced that I didn't thrive in a group, but I do. It just has to be the right kind of group. So, the first thing we need to address is the fear that some people have around what this is like on the inside as a group, which that can mean you disqualify yourself from the experience before it even begins. Because I know that's what I did. I've joined some really fantastic masterminds, and like I said, some that just did not hit the mark for me. So all of this is from my own perspective. I've created my masterminds and group experiences based on what I know and love and experience, and that's what every facilitator does. And hopefully, again, this gives you something to think about too. So let's start with what it's like when you're thinking about signing up for a group coaching or mastermind and you're not even sure what it entails. So you might be new to coaching, and the idea of having someone on your team who works with you through everything might seem really vulnerable enough. Just telling someone else what's going on in the fruit salad in your mind, even though it's exciting. But at the same time, doing that in a group feels even more intimidating. It feels like also it doesn't make sense, right? Like, how does anyone get anything done when there's so many people in that one space? Now, I have to admit, I'm a very private person and I'm a little bit of a lone wolf. And my idea of group coaching or a group mastermind before I signed up for one was like, that sounds horrible. That sounds like a horrible experience where I'm going to be forced to share all my personal stuff with people that I don't even know. And if I'm not doing everything right, I'm going to just get in trouble and once again feel like I'm not good enough or not able to keep up with everyone's weird standards. And the truth to be told, there were groups that I joined where my values did not align with the person running the group. And for example, I didn't know I was a highly sensitive person. I'm thinking of one particular experience. Or it wasn't super clear what was exactly going to be involved in the inner workings of the space. And I thought I just needed the weakness and inconsistency and what I thought was lack of organization, but really it was just an inability to keep up with the crazy pace everyone tries to keep up with. I thought I needed all of that slapped out of me by someone who knew more in business or who's very much further ahead and more kind of serious. And that was a very, very, very bad idea. I thought someone who made out like they had a super solid strategy that I could follow was going to be able to help me to get to the next level and get out of my head. But in that particular circumstance I'm thinking of, all I felt was like really rushed. I felt like I was lost in a sea of people. I felt like I couldn't keep up with what I was supposed to be doing. I felt even a little bit dismissed at times. So just because someone says that they have a bunch of answers or a clear path forward, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But I will also say, in this very same group that I'm referring to, because I'm not throwing shade at that experience, it just wasn't right for me. There were people that absolutely frothed on that experience and they thrived in it and they absolutely just shone. Let me tell you, when you're in the right space where you're welcomed and your energy and your pace and the way you do things and your values, it feels actually like when they're all welcomed, it feels like home. It's so cool. There's such a vibe in there, and the right space will make you feel so aligned and so energized and so clear in terms of your values and methods and the things that you do with your coach. In the right space, there will be ample time and space for you to speak and to be heard and to give and receive feedback, and all your questions will be welcomed, and it won't be somewhere where you're just going to get sold onto the next thing and told that you need to stick around, otherwise you're going to fail. And there are ways in which you can work out if this is going to be the right thing for you before you say yes, before you hand over any money to someone, and before you take any risk. So the best thing about being in the right kind of mastermind space, because I just really want to give that some attention and energy right now, is that the misconception is that you're in a group and you're going to be lost, and it is possible for that to happen in the wrong space for you. But when you're in the right space, the people who have shown up are there for the same reason that you are, and they're your people. And yeah, you actually do share stuff in this space quite vulnerably, but it is private and it is confidential. And you find yourself even sometimes sharing things that you wouldn't even share with your friends or you wouldn't normally share in a group, because it's actually so easy to do when you're in a container or a space that has been set up specifically designed for that to happen. When you're welcome, you're accepted, you trust the person running the space, the key performance indicators and values of the space align with your own. The purpose of the space is to have these kinds of conversations. They're being encouraged, and it is a positive, reinforced experience. This was something I was so surprised about when I joined the right kind of group myself. Rather than feeling like I was able to just kind of hide and get lost in the fray, people were asking questions that I didn't even know I also needed the answers to. Like, I didn't even know I had that question somewhere floating around in my brain, but it was a question I wanted answered, like that helped me immediately. And it changed my life really, really quickly. I learned through watching other people experience coaching. I learned through watching a coach facilitate people dynamics. And I learned through sharing what was going on with me and realizing that what I thought was just a me thing never, ever, ever was. Every single question that everyone brings the group closer, because the one thing we all have in common in the beginning is thinking that somehow we're alone or it's just us. So it's just this incredible accelerant. It's blown my mind over the years, both in running and being a part of masterminds, how much better business and life feels when I have my own space, my own container, my own place I can go where working out what I want, going through what I'm going through, celebrating what's working, being with the challenges, all of me, all my process is welcomed and encouraged and supported, not just by one coach, but by a group of people. Some of them are my peers and some of them are people who are, pushing me to be my very best. It's like AKA the coach. When I'm in those spaces, there's not a day where you feel like you have to do it all alone. And it's like curating a corner of the world for the exact purpose of solving the current challenges and achieving the current goals that you're going through right now. So on that note, I really want to talk about some of the things that happen in a mastermind or in a group coaching space that you might not realize actually do happen, like some of the benefits of it, that actually happen faster because you're in a group and not just doing one-on-one work. And if any of these appeal to you, this is going to be the first little signal to tell that it might actually be worth it for you. So the number one thing, well, actually, they're not in order of importance, but there's a number of them. The first thing is accountability to achieve your goals. So yes, okay, technically this one is built into one-on-one coaching, but let's just say it is amplified within a group. So because it's a structured environment with consistent progress where you commit to your goals and you regularly report back on your progress, you're not just reporting back to one person, you're reporting back to an entire group. This level of accountability pushes you to take action and overcome procrastination and stagnation and avoidance, even just knowing that you have people who are waiting to hear about this. And it makes you think very differently about getting things done or starting or even which actions to take. It's like this inbuilt follow-through insurance policy. With the right coach, you'll have the right type of accountability that suits you and your nervous system. So just remember, not every type of accountability suits every person, but just knowing that there is someone or a group of people who are focused with their eyes on what you are doing, it makes a huge difference, huge, cannot be underestimated difference to you not hiding and showing up and doing what it is that you say that you're going to do. And it can be so wonderful. Okay, second benefit is you have access to diverse perspectives and experience and expertise, provided that the space has been set up that way. So it's kind of like collective intelligence. So a group coaching mastermind consists of individuals from various industries, various backgrounds, hopefully, offering you access to new ideas and solutions that you might not have considered within your own wheelhouse, within your industry, within, your world that you work in. And other people's feedback can open up opportunities and approaches that you would never have thought of because they are just, like I said, outside your wheelhouse. I've been told by marketing people over the years to niche down on one of my group coaching programs called the Fierce Salon. I've been told to niche it down and make it only available to coaches. And even though I do find that a lot of coaches show up in my space, we have also had doctors, athletes, hair company owners, performers, singers, property developers, people with brick and mortar businesses, healers, like all kinds of amazing people in there. And I have found that it is just so much more valuable having that kind of diversity because the space is not an echo chamber for one particular industry. So the ideas cross-pollinate, and it's just the most incredible thing to see how someone from a different industry can say something so simple to you that you would never have heard from someone in your own industry. So I probably will never niche it down that far, even though technically it makes sense from a marketing perspective, because I really believe in this diversity in collective intelligence. You're learning effectively from other people's experience as well. And this saves you so much time. So instead of relying solely on your own trial and error with a coach and reflecting on what worked and what didn't, when people show up in a group mastermind program, people are taking all different kinds of actions on all different kinds of projects throughout their different lives. And they're coming back and reporting on what works and what didn't. And you can benefit from the lessons that others in the group have learned at the same time as you. And this can help you avoid pitfalls and accelerate your growth. And like I said, people ask questions and have insights that you just would never have seen coming. It's like an exponential way to learn and grow. The third thing is that you get support from a like-minded community. Now, this is very different to when you are in one-on-one coaching. It's like having a curated cheer squad. Entrepreneurship, high performance, being a driven person, being a leader, being a solopreneur can feel incredibly isolating. A mastermind or group coaching program surrounds you with driven, like-minded individuals who also share similar aspirations. And this gives you a really supportive network that just motivates you and uplifts you, and it does the heavy lifting for you. So this also makes it a safer space for vulnerability because it's a confidential environment where you can share your struggles and your challenges without the fear of judgment or being held to something that you were struggling with when it's over. So this space allows for authentic conversations that foster really deep connections and breakthroughs. And really accelerated growth because week to week, a mastermind will not be seeing you as who you were last week with the struggle that you had last week or last time you spoke, but who you are today in this moment. Because one thing that a really great, highly driven, highly ambitious group mastermind or group coaching space, one thing that everyone typically believes is you live a lifetime in a week. So what we were talking about last week is so last week. And I'm sure you can relate to this on some level. So that's the difference between speaking with, your friends when you're catching up for coffee to speaking with a group of people who are focused on forward motion and growth and change. Is you're not being held to who you once were, but who you are becoming week to week. So it just speeds things up so much faster. Number 4 is you get breakthroughs in your mindset due to osmosis. So in a group coaching program, you will see other people do things that will inspire you to think bigger. Like someone will do something, you'll go, I didn't even realize I could think like that. And they say you're the direct result of the people that you surround yourself with. And this is just a fabulous way to let your environment, like I said before, do that heavy lifting for you because the conversation is just so clear and directed without having to blow up your life or stop talking to your friends. You still get to curate the community around you and the osmosis that you take in. So just hanging out in spaces with other people who think like you or think bigger than you or think are on the same path as you and they think completely differently to you and they have the same values and the same vision, this will change you. Number 5 is collaboration and the networking opportunities that you just don't get in one-to-one work unless you're getting introduced to your coaches like all of their clients. So there are so many potential collaborations. You might meet future business partners. You might meet people that you collaborate with in other ways, clients, friends within the group. You'll expand your business network and opportunities and even the ideas that you have about what your business is capable of. And of course, we can't forget the value of a referral network. So the relationships that you build in these spaces, because you have an intense prolonged experience together often turn into a really powerful referral network that extends and expands beyond the time that you are together in a mastermind. So members typically recommend quite actively and support each other's businesses and endeavors because a relationship and trust has been built. I still receive referrals from friends that I met years and years ago in different countries and different masterminds who I've stayed in touch with, or even people who I haven't spoken with for ages because they've remembered my work and they've worked with someone and they've said, I think the next person that you need to work with is this person. A great mastermind will foster and encourage genuine connection with people. And it's just so, once again, so nice to know that we're not alone. Number 6, I know I'm waxing lyrical about this, but hopefully you can see in some of these examples that these are ways that you can tell if it might be worth it for you. But then I'm going to get into it in a moment where we talk about what are the questions you can ask yourself to really make sure. So number 6 is you actually get faster business growth for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there are collaborative solutions. So you get to quickly and effectively troubleshoot issues, and you'll come to your coaching session with something with the coach, and that will be trouble. You're not thinking about it on your own. You're not trying to deal with it on your own. You're implementing solutions, which reduces the time that you spend on trial and error because you're also compounding that with the lessons other people have had from this experience. You're learning from other people's mistakes and the questions and the insights and the successes when they debrief. So you will naturally grow a lot faster from having access to that. But also, the guidance and the resources that get shared in groups like this can help you streamline your processes, improve your productivity, ultimately grow your business faster, because people just have resources that they can share that will save you time, even faster than ChatGPT, because you don't even need to do any research. And the investment in the insights and what you learn from these mastermind, everything that gets shared, they become the benchmarks that you use to make decisions in the future, which means that it is an investment that returns time and time and time again because of not only the time that you have saved, but the insights that you have actually gained for yourself that mean you don't ever have to think about solving that problem ever again. Number 7 is you get holistic personal growth. So when you're consistently surrounded by people who believe in your potential, you naturally develop more confidence in your own abilities, and it is a huge confidence boost. And I can tell you, it is not the same as having a coach tell you that they believe in you, because as much as I would never encourage a coach to tell someone that they believe in them if they don't, just because that person is paying you, we still know that we're paying our coach to do their job. So it's very different when you're in a group of people who are also paying that same person or place to have the experience when they believe in you too. It's like your peers believing in you. It is so very different and it's so awesome. And the other part to this is life balance. So oftentimes there's not just conversations coming up about the one particular topic or the goal that you are talking about, but there'll be other things that come up like personal growth topics, mindset, work-life balance, self-care, relationships, helping you grow holistically and achieve a more fulfilling life in general, not just in a business sense. When people come together, they don't ever just talk about one siloed topic. And so the personal growth is always holistic. There are always different resources being shared, and it's so cool. Number 8 is an expanded vision for your business. So a mastermind, a group coaching will push you to dream beyond your current limitations, inspire you to set bigger goals for your life and business, and think bigger. Now, yes, you do get this in one-on-one coaching, but the other piece is this, and that is creative problem solving. So when you're faced with obstacles, the group's collective creativity can provide really amazing out-of-the-box solutions, helping you break through barriers. And that coupled with the fact that you're not going to be the only person who brings limitations and obstacles to the group that everyone helps solve, it just naturally encourages everyone to kind of think bigger, think more creatively, think exponentially, think outside the box, think backwards, think upside down, think through an issue. If you've ever wanted to learn to think bigger, join a group with other people. I know it sounds crazy, and you can read all of the books on this, but nothing will speed up your ability to change and influence the way that you think faster than joining a group who change and influence the way that you think. Okay, last one. I'm going to say that the mastermind environment fosters this culture of continuous learning and self-improvement that actually helps you stay ahead in your business and personal development. So it's not just about ongoing personal development and professional development that is fostered and encouraged by a one-on-one coach. There are so many ideas being thrown around, you cannot help but be a little bit ahead of the curve. And as you grow, your goals and your needs will evolve, and a mastermind or group coaching space provides ongoing support and adjustment to that, helping you navigate these changes, set new targets, not only inspired by yourself, but inspired by, this kind of hive mind that happens with other people. So you really do stay ahead of the curve with things. Okay, so they were just 9 things that you may, 9 benefits, I suppose, that you may not expect that being in a group actually helps you with in coaching, that it's not the same in one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching has its own benefits and its own value, but I really today is an homage to the group coaching experience. So if, as I was talking about those benefits, you thought, yeah, that would be something that I would actually really, really love, you might be interested in looking at group coaching or a mastermind experience, and it might be worth it to you. But even with all of those benefits, you're still going to need to tell if that particular experience is worth it for you. So let's really nut down now on how to tell if it's worth it for you. And remember, this is just my experience. This is my hindsight experience and how I look at different potential investments that I make in my business and how I can tell if it's going to be worth it for me. So just take all of what I'm about to say with a grain of salt and let it inspire you to work out if it's worth it for you. Ding, ding, halftime. I just want to let you know that my group coaching masterminds, mine, are enrolling right now. We officially kick off in early October, so there's plenty of time. And we have 2 tiers that you can join at depending on your goals. The first tier is the Bloom Business Incubator, which is for solopreneurs looking to create consistent 5 to 10K months in their business, who are not interested in just copying someone else's strategy, but who want to learn the full scope, all the wheelhouses of a business, and then apply what works for you so you can do this and achieve your results consistently and sustainably over time. Then the second tier is the Fierce Salon, and this is for folks who are at a stage where they're doing really well, but you're ready for more. Good to great, you might say. Business or not, the principles are the same because it requires a leap in your thinking, and you're looking for a space where your ambitions will be nurtured, but you'll find a way to create what you want without needing to blow up your life or burn out. Like I said, we officially kick off in early October, so reach out if you're interested or click one of the links below. Okay, let's get back into it. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself to help you determine that. The first one is, I would say you don't need to know what you want, because sometimes the purpose of being a part of a group is to actually help you to get clear on that, to help drill down, shut out the noise of everything else in the world and help you hear your own voice for the first time in a long time. So you don't need to know exactly what you want, but I would say you need to have an idea of how you'd like to feel in going about getting whatever is next for you and what your ideal experience of a mastermind would be. So one of the biggest pitfalls with masterminds is signing up to something because it's popular, or because everyone's doing it, or because it's in your face as the solution, like lots of advertising, lots of whatever, without paying attention to the details of the experience once you're in the doors. So do you want to be on a timer when someone is coaching you? Do you get one-on-one calls with someone? Like, is there any more high-touch experience? Do you actually get to talk to the person who is advertising it to you? How big is the group? How much contact do you get with the person who is running this thing? How much contact do you get with others? Things like this. So just take some time to think about your ideal experience, like how you would love to participate in a group and what it would need to feel like for it to be worth it to you. And then map that across to anything that you're looking at and seeing if, okay, like this does line up or this doesn't line up. Number 2, I would say asking yourself, am I in a position where investing in something like this is not going to cause me significant financial distress? The best experiences of masterminds happen when you can relax into the pace and the space and just let things take however long they take. Coaching takes time. It is not a quick fix problem. There is no such thing. Sometimes you'll jump into a mastermind or group coaching space and immediately things start shifting really quickly and you start seeing results immediately. Often though, things come up. The results take time. You might set a goal and then everything in your life that's in the way of that goal actually happening that you didn't even realize is there comes up to be resolved. It gets in the way. Like things just can happen, you know? So sometimes it really does just take time. Sometimes your time in the mastermind is best spent rearranging something internally, as in like within you, so that your values become clear, your vision is sharp, your strategy is honed, your decision-making data is clear, and your results take off a little bit later. But when they do take off, they are better than they could have ever been without taking that time to sift through everything that was in the way. If you can, like, no one can tell you up front, this is going to be your experience. It's unexpected. Your goals might even change once you're in that space. If you can be with that and not, this is exactly the same with one-on-one coaching, to be perfectly honest, but if you can be with that and not jump in expecting that everything has to work straight away, you will absolutely love it, because masterminds especially take twists and turns where someone throws in an idea and it can completely revolutionize the way that you're looking at everything. You'll start to think very differently about your strategy. It's awesome. And if you can be with that, you'll be able to relax into it. But I just want to say, let's just take a moment as an ode to folks who jump in with 2 feet though and just make it work. You know, it's a little bit of a risk, because if that's your jam, I really respect that. And that's certainly been my MO in the past, and it's worked just fine for me. As long as in those moments where you're feeling challenged or stressed, you can still show up and take action, and the stress isn't going to like completely take you out and prevent you from being able to be present and think about the next logical step and actually take action. That's really, really important. So, number 3, assess the ROI or return on investment for yourself. So, what you can ask is, what is the one thing that would have to happen for you to say, that was really worthwhile for me? Is it a financial goal? Is it something to do with your own self-confidence? Are they habits? Is it a skill level? Ask yourself what the ROI would need to be, because in a mastermind, working with lots of different people, working with a coach, they are going to want to know what it is that will make the difference for you. And that's what you want to be focused on. It would be very easy to get distracted by thinking that if I apply this strategy, I'll achieve these results. But, you know, your ROI, like your main aim, might actually be to make a certain amount of money or to be able to upskill in some particular area. And if you get really distracted by what that ROI is, you can end up in a mastermind where the focus is nothing to do with what it would be worthwhile for you, or it's not going to be achievable or possible, or it's going to be distracted from that focus. And that's when it's not worth it. Number 4, are you willing to ask for help and encourage others in the space too? So mastermind spaces are a 2-way relationship. When you show up and you want to receive and you want to ask for what you need and you're vulnerable and you share your wins and you share everything that's going on, you want to hope that everyone in that space wants what you want for you as well. And so the way for that to happen is that if you show up hoping to achieve something, you're also going to be showing up hoping that everyone else in that space, you want them to get what they want too. And that's how it gets reflected back to you times 10 or times however many people are in there. And it's just such a beautiful experience to know that everyone in that space, they're not just in it for them, they're in it for you too. That's kind of how this group coaching experience works, which is so good. So if you are willing to ask for help, but also encourage others, to communicate where you're at, to celebrate others, to be vulnerable, to hold space while others are being vulnerable, and your coach will also be able to support you, the more willing you are to go there as well, then the whole experience gets lifted for everyone. So if you're willing to ask for help and encourage other people, then it might be worthwhile for you. Number 5, this is more to do with the coach that you're looking at working with. Does the coach that you're looking at have the expertise that you need? So first, do they have a track record? Do they have a history of working with clients just like you? Check for their testimonials, look for success stories or case studies. You can even reach out to their past clients and say, hey, I heard you worked with blah. Tell me a little bit more about that. Was it worthwhile for you? Like, really go about it and do your research and figure things out. The second thing is, do they have alignment in their approach for you? So does their coaching style align with your values and your preferred way of working? A good fit will make the process effective. A bad fit will make the process just really stressful and clunky, and it will feel like a chore rather than something that you're really excited to show up for. When you're in the right group, it's exciting to show up to the calls. It's like stepping into an adventure because you never know what's going to happen. You never know where your mind's going to go or what kind of ideas are going to come out. It should never feel like it is a chore that you have to, like an extra thing that you've got to do that's on your plate, you know? Okay, number 6, does the method or the process that this coach uses, does it suit your needs? So think about 2 things, the coaching methodology. First of all, like understand their framework if they've got a framework. Do they offer actionable strategies? Do they understand that achieving goals is a holistic approach and not just like a task-driven race? Will their approach address your specific needs, whether it's personal development, business growth, mindset shifts, a holistic approach to achievement that does not involve burnout? Can they handle all of that at the same time? So look at the coach's methodology. Do they talk about lots of different things, or do they just talk about one specific thing, which it would indicate that if you have something go on that's distracting you from being able to take action, they may not be able to hold space for you to do that. You're going to fall behind. That's really stressful. So then the second part of does the process suit your needs is what support is offered. What kind of support is provided between sessions? Do you have access to additional resources? Is there follow-up and accountability tools? Is there one-on-one support? Is there a space to ask questions between calls? Ask all of the questions so you have a really comprehensive idea of what to expect when you are in there. Number 7, this is important, have you ever had an experience with that coach before? Now, I would say this is probably one of the main indicators of like how you're really going to be able to tell if it's worth it. So if you can, get on a call with them, have an interview with them. If you can't, listen to interviews that they've done with others. See if you can get access to any coaching sessions that they have done in the past. Take a course with them. Figure out how it is, what their approach is. And if you do get to have a conversation with them, just pay attention. Like, did you feel heard? Did they tailor their coaching and their responses to your situation? Or were they pulling strategies out of a one-size-fits-all hat? Or was it like what's that phrase, drinking from a fire hose? Did they just throw all the information at you without kind of paying attention to what was going to be the next best step for you and having a regulated nervous system? Are they invested in your success? Are their methods and actions the kind of thing that you actually want to be doing? Do you feel like you can be open and honest with this person? It will not be worth it if your coach's style does not align with your own. It's just going to be stressful. Translation: you don't need the disorganization slapped out of you or a kick up the bum to be more productive. You need to be heard. You need strategies that align with who you are, the phase that you are in, the season that you're in, the energy that you have, and things that draw the best out of you, not try to squeeze you into a box. If you don't want to be consistently online in order to generate results, for example, make sure that you're not working in a mastermind where that's exactly what's been taught as to how to achieve the results. Okay, so just pay attention to what's being said and what's being done. Number 8, is coaching what you need? This is another great question. So for example, in some cases, it might be worth seeking therapy instead of coaching. So coaching is focused on growth, performance, emotional intelligence, and achieving goals, whereas therapy addresses things like mental health and trauma and emotional well-being. So if you're struggling right now with some deeper emotional or psychological issues, therapy might be a more appropriate choice for now. And masterminds are definitely not a substitute for mental health treatment. Sometimes you can be doing both at the same time, and this can bring incredible results. It's just really important to check in. What exactly am I looking for in this mastermind? What am I hoping to work through what would make it worthwhile for me, coming back to those questions. So just in case the answer is, I think I'm actually looking for therapy instead of a mastermind group. Now, finally, I'd say the last question is now the right time? Sometimes you have found an amazing group space, but it's just not the right time. So the question is, are you in a place where you can commit to the process right now? Ask yourself, what is expected of me in this space? And am I willing to do that? And can I even do it? And what might that look like for me to do it? Coaching requires time, focus, dedication. So it's important to make sure that you're prepared to invest emotionally and mentally as well, whatever that looks like to you, so that it is worthwhile. Once you get in, then the work starts. You've got to show up and do what you've got to do. And when I say whatever that looks like to you, I really mean this, whatever it looks like to you. So for example, one of my clients right now is about to have a baby, and many times in my groups, clients share that they are in very early stages or right in the trenches of a big life transition. Maybe they're moving, maybe they've had a breakup, maybe there's a pregnancy or an international house move, but they're feeling like now's the perfect time for them to do the work with me, and their belief is that it doesn't make sense, so it feels confusing. Listen, nobody can tell you what a good time or not good time really is. You have to trust yourself on that, but it is worth asking yourself. So sometimes those big transitions, they call for extra support, and that's why it feels like the right time. But sometimes they call for simplification, and that's why it can feel like maybe not the right time. Sometimes they call for simplification in some areas and amplifying support in others. So in my groups, people are welcome to show up as they are, breastfeeding, tired, traveling, whatever it looks like that day. But I know that I've been in spaces where that wasn't considered commitment. So check in with that for you. What season are you in? Is now the right time? And if you're in a season where you're kind of in the trenches, or you're going through something in your body and you feel like you need that support, does this mastermind space hold that for you? Or do they expect you to be a certain way in order for you to kind of benefit? Sometimes it's the right space, but it's just not the right time. So I guess you might be wondering, how do I know if it's the right time? Well, if you have a big yes feeling from all those questions above, even if you're a bit scared or nervous to dive in, that's completely natural. I would say it's still a yes. But if any of these are giving no answers, that's when I'd be diving a little bit further into figuring out why or what might be a better fit. All in all, masterminds, if you can't tell, I think are so beneficial, so good for us, so wonderful, so effective. And there are so many different types of masterminds and group coaching programs all over the world, run by all different incredible people. There's not just one particular type of mastermind. So by getting clear on what would make it worthwhile for you, that's going to help you filter for the right coach and the right experience. And when you find the right space, your results, your sense of confidence are amplified. And for a lot of introverted or highly sensitive people, or folks who consider themselves lone wolves, it can seem really intimidating or unproductive or noisy, or a space where you could just be reminded that you don't like people. But with the right space and the right mentorship and having clarity on what would make it worthwhile to you, a mastermind is a space where your entire life can completely transform and everything can change in the best way, and the investment pays dividends for the rest of your career. So I really, really hope that this has helped you today to just give you a little bit of understanding, first of all, on what would make it worthwhile. Hopefully you get a little bit excited about what's possible in being a part of a group, but also understanding what happens behind the scenes in a mastermind and how to know if it would be worthwhile for you to invest in one. I really hope that this has helped you today. As usual, I would love to hear from you. If you'd love to comment, if you have a question, if you think there's something that you would add to this list of how to know if it's worthwhile, I'd love to hear from you. You can comment underneath the podcast episode on the blog. And, I'd also really love to hear any stories that you have of a time when maybe you signed up for a mastermind, you realize, this wasn't aligned with me, or when you signed up for something and it completely changed your life. I would love to hear those stories, and I'm sure, people would love to read them and to help themselves be able to determine if it's worthwhile for them as well. So remember, everything you want is so much closer than you think. I'm really glad that you're here. I hope this helped. Stay curious, stay open, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now.